Okay, I think we're live. Okay, there we go. Okay, hi guys. This live stream is about business opportunities and how to start or expand your current business. And really, I'll be talking a lot about different types of businesses and the terminology because I've been getting a lot of questions in that regard. Hi, Gwen. Yeah, please say hello if you're watching live and where you're from. And if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in. If it's directly related to what I'm talking about, I'll definitely answer it. Otherwise, I might just wait to the end to go through all the questions. I didn't announce this ahead of time, so we'll see how many people join us here. But I think this live stream will be very helpful, this video, if you've been hearing different types of businesses, if you're entering the business world and you're just kind of, feel like you keep hearing new types of businesses and how do you evaluate which type you should use. I know that like on my channel, I go through the legal, accounting, and taxes, right? I talk a lot about that structure side and making that simple, but that's just a vehicle, just one step. Hi, James from Vegas. So that's just one part, right? That's just the structure, not what you're actually doing, right? So, oh, great, Bo, you got to video too? Awesome. That's where I talk about, a lot of what a lot of videos on my channel are about, which is about choosing the best type of business and really what those different structures are, because there's a lot of complication in that area as well. Hi, Underwrite Entertainment from Miami. Today, I'll be using we'll kind of talk about the official terminology that you might see thrown around a lot in regards to what the business does. So we have the types of business: corporation, LLC, blah, 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 our accounting, our tax, and legal structures. But now we're going to talk about the type of business, what the business does. So including terminology like holding company, service-based, product-based, in different types of investment, trading, mergers, acquisitions, online businesses, affiliate marketing, like all these different terms. So if you can think of any terms that you've been seeing that you're wondering about, feel free to throw those in as well. And I'll be going through here and just talking about the different types and how you could start a business in those areas or expand. And so do post your specific questions if you've been wondering about any of these different types of businesses, or you have a certain type of business. And that applies for the replay as well, because this is a fun area of actually starting or expanding what the business does. Because you can form the structure, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take something off in that structure. And I hate to see people sitting around with all these LLCs that they spent money forming and maintaining and never doing something with, when obviously that's the goal when you start the business, right? So when it comes to choosing the best type of business, obviously first understanding what a lot of these different concepts are. So the first main distinction here would be between service-based and product-based businesses, right? Because service means that you're providing a service. Product means that you're selling, and I want to say inventory, but not inventory. It means you're selling something, okay? And things that a business buys has different context, whether based on the type of business and what the intention is for the various things it's buying, right? So a product business could sell real estate if that's what they're in the business of doing. And then there are businesses that provide services in real estate, right? Such as real estate agents or mortgage broking or underwriting. Like there's all different types within that. So that's a first big distinction is product-based versus service-based, which means you're providing a service done by humans. You're not actually selling products versus you're selling products. So like an online store, right? Or physical store sells products. So that's a first big distinction that applies to a lot of different types of businesses within that, right? Are you product-based or are you service-based? Now you can be both, certainly. You could be both product and service-based, but typically the business has a primary focus. So for example, consulting businesses are service-based business, a more specific type. Bookkeeping is a service that's not consulting, right? But it's still a service business. When it comes to choosing the easier type of business, generally, and we'll talk about this more at the end, but generally, a service-based business in theory is going to be easier to start because you're not having to either buy inventory, house inventory, sell in, like deal with all the reality of products and getting products to places. So there's that side when we're talking about how to start and like evaluating how to start and what it's going to take. However, what I'll talk about at the end is, you know, obviously like a training like this where you're learning about the different types is going to be good knowledge for you to evaluate and then make a decision. But I find that whatever people are most passionate about is going to be the area to go with. Like there's no amount of logic-based reason that is going to trump or trigger within you the desire to actually do all the dirty work associated with a business, you know, if you don't have that otherwise. So that's why people talk about passion and all that. It's not necessarily, you know, you don't have to be choosing a hobby for a business, but choosing something that you want to do is going to work significantly better than something that you think is the most practical thing to do. Now, there might be some negotiation there, but finding that fine line of something that you're really excited about, even if it might seem bigger than something you can do, is typically still the better choice to make. Because when you're excited, you're going to have an extra bit of oomph to push you through the challenges that you don't have if you're choosing something based on it being 100% the realistic option. But like I'm saying, there's a fine line there, right? Because you might, because it's also based on, we'll come back to kind of more of the evaluation, but I'll go through more of the types of business. And I see James asked about remote online notarizing. Wow, what a great concept. So that notary is a service, right? You're notarizing things for people. That's a service-based business. Obviously, I'm pretty passionate about putting every type of business online. I think every business can be utilizing the online world. But let's talk about some more of the terminology, and then we'll come back to evaluating at the end. So then there's investment, right? Like you could just invest in businesses. When you're doing trading, which I know trading is something a lot of people come to me when they're starting a business, they want to start trading. And it kind of makes me wonder a lot of times, especially when they haven't moved forward with it, since it is so easy to trade. I know I downloaded an app the other day on my phone. I can't remember what it's called, but it makes it really easy to trade. So if you want to trade and you haven't moved forward with trading, I wonder how passionate you really are about it, because it's so easy to trade stock, right? There's little apps, you can do it on your phone. You're not really providing a lot of value. So when it comes to evaluating this stuff, I really think looking at whatever you want to do if you say it to yourself, like spend some self-analytical time in a place where you like to be, and spend some time really digging into why you want to do what you want to do. Because when you get out there, whatever the thing is you think you want to do, and then you look at why you want that, that's your key right there. Like that's that hook that you can focus on to drive you through all of the decision making. Because typically you can accomplish that why in many other ways than you realize. So when it comes to investment, stock trading it's not a traditional investor, but you're buying and selling shares of stock that a company owns that's traded on public stock market. So in a way, you're investing. You're not really providing value. You certainly could invest in smaller business as an investor. And I think that you're going to see that becoming a lot more common with small businesses. And even if you think about small businesses that provide services in your community that are going to expand or want to talk about expanding, that can be a great way for people to invest in a smaller scale and still get bigger returns while actually providing value in your community. Long-term stock, that's what you're doing when you invest in a retirement plan, right? On the stock market, you're a long-term investor, essentially. Your money's being spread out among business stock. Mergers and acquisitions. So acquisitions, buying a company is a pretty, can be a really good route to take, right? Because you have a business that's successful, that's doing something, and you can do this even on a small scale. The problem is a lot of smaller businesses don't know how to go about it, and they expect that their expectations are not really in the right place. So, but that doesn't mean that they might change their expectations if they get educated about what is common and the fact that when you sell a small business, generally as a buyer, like you could even put nothing down. If that person who owns a small business is motivated to leave the physical location, to have nothing to do with the business, then they're going to be very motivated because their only option is to shut it down, right? So they're going to be quite motivated to someone who comes in that they trust, that they form a relationship with, and you're like, okay, I want to buy the business and I'll pay you a portion of the profits going forward. So that's where you're really forming a relationship and then taking over a business that's already set up. Now, the problem is a lot of small business owners are actually working in their business. Now, what you can do to set up a transition is have them hire someone to replace them. Have them hire someone to replace them and have them create procedures, operating procedures manuals. And all that is step-by-step instructions, checklists in a Word document of what is being done in the business every day. Standard operating procedures, there's different technical terminology for it, but it's just writing down what the business does. So mergers and acquisitions, and of course, is buying bigger companies. If you have a successful company, or once you start a successful company, then you could look at buying other companies that are related to what you do. And you don't, just like I just explained, companies that are making money, this is just like the development industry, really. You don't have to necessarily have millions of dollars to buy a business. You just have to be willing to deal with bankers, deal with investments, and create a deal and basically take on liability. So you don't necessarily have to have a lot of money to do that. But certainly if you've started and been running your own successful business, even if it's a small business, that's going to be in your favor, that you have that revenue stream and that you have that experience managing something. Now, if you just had experience in whatever your past career was managing, then that might be all you need as well. Okay, so service-based, product-based, investment, mergers and acquisitions, holding companies. I often get asked about holding companies. I have a video all about holding companies. All that means is that you've created an LLC to keep one activity separate. So people often do that with real estate deals. If you're buying businesses deals, they would often do that. It's just A holding company is just setting up a company for the purpose of holding an activity or real estate. And really, it's about holding liability separate from other aspects. And that can be great from the accounting and financial perspective as well, to keep things separated. All right, so lastly, the last kind of category I was going to talk about is online businesses. And for online businesses, there's some loose categories. You can take any business online, like you said, James, about notarizing. So any notary business could be taken online. Now, to what degree can you perform the service online itself versus getting clients online, advertising online, maybe starting the service online? So if someone purchases, so you send them to a website to purchase, or you have a Google ad, or you have a Google search result, which is your website when someone searches locally for your service, and then they can register and pay on that website. Like, it's set up for it to be fast and easy. They register, they pay. Then you can send a video with like the next step, right? So you can think about using the internet to really facilitate whatever it is you provide, even if it's a local service-based business. So that, because instead of having a conversation with everyone, you can send an initial automated email to your customers that says the things you would always say at the start of someone signing up for whatever service it is you're offering. Same thing with products. I think it's really an added value. A lot of times people forget with products, if they provide more value through, say, video trainings and education and finding out what their customers don't know and then helping them with that, you're way more likely to create loyal customers. So in online business, we have the same things, product, service, to whatever degree that can be provided online. Certainly selling products can be done online very easily, just like local businesses. If you're looking to start, so I have a YouTube channel and I sell courses online. And part of my business is that if that's what you're looking to do, is some sort of like online education in your industry, then start building a content platform. So YouTube, choose a platform and start building an audience there and create content. And then do something else, like do whatever your in-person business is. It takes time for that to grow. Yes, it can happen very quickly sometimes, but I wouldn't count on that. A lot of affiliate marketers, which is another area of online business, will tell you that you can run ads and you can spend a lot of money to sell courses. I don't really recommend that because there's free way to sell courses if you're just providing value. So by building an online platform where you provide free content in whatever your industry is that you want to sell courses on, that's really the way that makes more sense, because you get to figure out what people, the language and the questions that people have. Meaning, if you look at my business, I did make a course originally online, but I would have had to spend a lot of advertising money, and I didn't know the questions that people were asking because people don't search on Google the same way they ask questions in person. And so when you create content online, you're able to figure that out and get online traffic for free versus paying affiliate marketers. So affiliate marketers will help you take any business online. They specialize in the online world, in building an email list and selling through that email list and setting up the systems of being able to track what websites people go to. Like, we've all experienced affiliate marketing by buying stuff online. So that's an entire industry online as well. Then there would be affiliate marketing, which is selling other people's products online and getting a percentage of the sale. So a lot of people review things about Amazon and then link people to Amazon to buy the thing. I'm sure you've experienced that as well. So the online world is definitely new. There's also advertising online, and you can use influencers online. So like, I get contacts every day now that my channel has grown to promote people's software products. I don't typically do that, but if someone has something that I genuinely think is good, like Free Tax USA, which I don't even bother promoting because it's free. I probably should still promote it, especially now that my channel is growing. So I should get an affiliate link because that way I can see the traffic that's going there. And there's other ways to negotiate payment from companies. But those are things I genuinely recommend just because they work well. I'm not really looking to promote other people's products because I have my own courses. So I don't really want to take away, but I recommend things as they're applicable. But so people create businesses around that, like focusing on just referring things. But I think unless they develop that business into sharing some sort of knowledge, that it doesn't really work at the end of the day, because you don't want to listen to someone who you think is just trying to sell products on Amazon. So yeah, but I'm sure you've encountered that, and it can be very helpful, right? Like if you're redoing your kitchen and you're trying to decide what appliances to do, and you search and you find a site that goes through all of the appliances and compares them, I mean, it can be really helpful, right? So yeah, so those are some broad types of businesses. So we covered service versus product-based businesses, investment, mergers, acquisitions, holding companies, and online businesses. So that is basically, those are basically broad types of businesses, right? And then within every industry, there's more nuanced and more specific types of businesses within those. So yeah, if you have any questions, we can go for questions now. Let's see, Bo. I heard about people forming LLCs and entities in the state of Connecticut, even if they don't live there. Is there some strategy to this? Great question. The Delaware is typically where people think that they need to form an LLC. And I hear people say it all the time. I hear very educated people tell people, yeah, you could form in the states that don't have tax. No. The business is, so here's the deal. We'll back up. You form a legal entity in a state where you live. Well, let me back up. You form a legal, so the reason those people are saying to form in Delaware or to form in a certain state, the only time that's beneficial is when you have to file tax returns in all states. Your business operates in all states. You have to file everywhere. Then you can choose which state is going to be most advantageous as a home state. When you're a small business, you only need to file where the business operates. Typically, as the business owner of a small business, you operate where you live. You're going to have to file where you live anyways. So when you go and form in another state, you've now increased the number of states that you have to file in. So that's only a strategy. When your business is operating in all states, you're going to have to file in all states anyways. Then we can choose an advantageous home state to file in. So if you have a tech company with people working all over the country, so you're going to maybe create Nexus. Nexus means the requirement to file in a state. It's a tax and legal terminology, nexus to a state. In those types of businesses, like if that's where you're going to the point where you're going to be operating in many states, then choosing a state like that makes sense. If you're a small business that's going to work in your state, maybe 2 other states, you're only adding a tax return and headache of complications, because wherever the owner works and lives is going to be where you're gonna have to pay the tax there no matter what. It's only if you want to make it more complicated with another state. So yeah, there's strategy, but like most strategies, guys, you're not missing out as a small business owner. The strategies are for big millions of dollars being spent and received and offset. So it's when you have a lot of stuff going on and you're able to invest $100,000 in people planning things that those things start to become advantageous. Because just choosing a state because I heard that there's a strategy there, even in that bigger situation, isn't going to cut it. You need to pay someone to do analysis and create spreadsheet comparisons and to actually plan out why Delaware versus Connecticut versus blah, blah, blah is going to be beneficial. But again, it's only beneficial if you're already required to file in all the states. So let me know if I answered that question or if you still are like, but I thought blah, blah, blah. Someone said that it really is blah, blah, blah. Let me know, like, if you think I didn't get it. I'd love to, because I know that that one is a very common one. Let's see. Bo, hello from Arizona. Hi. Hi. Another Bo. Different spelling. So it's a good question, and I totally, so many people talk about it, so it makes sense why people are thinking that. So let me know if there are any other questions. If you are ready to form the business, set up a business, I'm doing a course that's going to start next week. It's 6 weeks long, and we'll have weekly classes. It's covering the same content that I gave away in my free challenge. So you can sign up for free and watch the video trainings. And we're doing a live course if you want my help, a small group. Each week we'll have weekly meetings going over each of the steps for forming your legal business. You get all of my courses, so my accounting, my business types comparison courses, so you get all of the technical sides included in that. So like if you've been wanting to form a legal business or start a business and get it all set up right and you just haven't been able to get it done, you can go through my free training and watch the free trainings, which do walk you through that. But we'll be doing it together in this live group starting next week. So if you want to get it done, because sometimes I know you run into questions, and so that's why we're doing it live. And you also get access to all of my courses, which is a pretty big deal in and of itself. This is cheaper than you would pay if you bought all my courses separately as well. And then you get the 6 weeks together of actually setting up your business, setting up the finances, setting up it all, or if you're looking to expand and do something new, check that out as well. I put both links. The first one is for the free training. The second one is for getting started and setting it up. Yes, it seems like loopholes and shortcuts are part of a strategy in business just to make pivots and adjustments easier and less mistakes. Yeah, I mean, well, it's more about just following the basics. So if you just do the basics, it's not really about loopholes and shortcuts. Like, they're not really there. They're built into the system when you are spending a lot of money and buying and selling a lot of stuff. It's built in, it's automatic. It's not, but it takes professionals. It's not something that can be made generalized or like, because there's so much specific rules even per industry. And so that's why so many professionals have trouble helping small businesses, is because if they have a technical background, then they have a technical background in one specific area in corporate, and they may not even really know small business. So anyways, so it's really not that complicated. It's just about getting set up right. And yeah, we don't teach this in school. We don't teach this anywhere. So you don't really know how to do it. So that's what I went over in the free training. And I'm also helping a small group with live starting next week. So if you're interested in actually getting it done, and you can set some sort of other goal in this group, like let's say you've been trying to start some side of your business and you just haven't gotten it there, like whatever the real goal is, you're able to set that as well. and we'll be using it as an accountability group to accomplish your goal in the 6 weeks, as well as getting set up. So if you're forming the LLC, setting up the bank account, setting up the finances, getting your accounting record, like we'll do all that too on the side, but whatever your main goal is to move forward in those 6 weeks, that's what we'll do as well. So the first step that we'll be doing together next week is a business plan exercise. So if you're interested, do check that out. Otherwise, post your questions. I know all the questions from our live go away after this post, but do comment on this video and I'll keep an eye on it for another day or so. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Let's see, is there one more question? Sometimes they don't come through. Alexander, hi Amanda, could you please recommend a course or something about how to grow sales in IT consulting? So, yeah, I would definitely say that sales, you know, there's so much to do with sales. That's certainly something that you could focus on in the course I'm doing next week if you're interested. And so it's 6 weeks to set a goal. And that's what in the first part of the class, making a business plan, which is totally going to include sales because sales is a big part of that. And if you're interested in using the online world, that's certainly something that I'm well versed in, and really businesses everywhere. So yeah, that's certainly a goal that you could set in the course, would be, which we could finesse in the business plan as far as where exactly you'd be at the end of 6 weeks for getting sales. Maybe you want to get 2 clients. And so then we would craft your weekly tasks around that for the 6 weeks and accomplishing that goal. Otherwise, as far as like, so one thing you want to look out for, like you could search for IT consulting course and there might be a course, but one thing to keep in mind is that that course is going to be one person telling you exactly what they did to get there. There's a million ways to get there. So, you know, if you want to do it exactly the way that person teaches, that's perfect. If you want to just learn from it, that's perfect. But I've worked with a lot of people, and what I've found is that you probably kind of know how you want to do it. And so that's what I would help you with. And I certainly have strategic advice and tips and can help people get into reality about certain ideas that they have. So yeah, so just keep that in mind. When you see a course about how to do X, Y, you know, how to get sales in this business, they're giving you one journey that they went through, like one, and it might be great, but if you don't really want to do part of that, if part of that is just not what you want to do, one of those steps, then you're going to have a real hard time having success with that course, right? Because if you can't follow someone's structure, but say, I'm going to leave out this chunk. So that's the one tip I would have, is being careful about that. And number 2, that could definitely be your goal in the course. As well as, you know, you can do the technical stuff on the side, make sure you're all set up there, but you can focus on achieving a goal such as sales for sure. Okay, Bo, it takes some time to learn the language through my own research and not anything I remember from college. Also question, do you have a course on business credit? No, I don't have a course on business credit. But I do have some credit. I have a credit series I was going to be doing soon with a sponsor who's very, there's a lot of credit companies out there. I don't know if you've been noticing, guys, my channel has been getting spammed by these credit people. I would stay away from any company that has to post in comments on other videos on YouTube to get clients. That is a red flag. Red flag. Don't do that. So I would stay away from those companies. You know, there's a lot of great channels. I'm going to be going over some credit stuff, but there is a lot of great channels. Just search credit. Your business, here's the thing. In a small business, and this is part of the whole thing, in a small business, you don't get credit. Okay? Your business, even if you form a separate business entity as an LLC, you're held liable. the bank is going to look at your credit. So it's all about your personal credit score. Yes, the business has a credit score as well, but typically it's not, they don't even care. They care about your credit score. Are you going to pay? So until you form like a corporation, you bring together a lot of parties, you've got a lot of stuff going on, it's all on your own credit score. So there's a lot of good channels if you search credit score that focus on that as well. You're welcome. I don't want to try and say your name, although I feel like my middle name is Alexander, and I feel like it's pretty close to that. Bumble, can I get a film tax credit as a YouTuber? I don't think so, no. I certainly don't. There's tax credits for the film industry. So this is another super corrupt thing of our system, but states entice large companies, including filming, to come to their state to film there. And just like Amazon was negotiating with New York, a lot of people heard about that, they weren't going to pay state taxes. So they're getting this huge kickback from the government, which is really, no matter what people call it, it's the company having too much power negotiating not to pay the taxes that we pay and that our businesses pay, right? Like, there's no excuse for it. It's just that the politicians have gotten too close with the businesses, which is why we all need to step up and take power back. Okay, and so those are state credits, not federal as well, Bubble. But no, we just don't qualify. It's about paying W-2 wages in the state, seeing as you might not believe that response. So if you hire people and pay W-2 wages and you're working under a film company, which YouTube is not, so it's not really relevant. I have a web domain, but I don't have, but great question. Limiava, I have a web domain, but I don't have any business licensing or don't know if I need it. I know what kinds of things I want to sell. What should I do? I'm an HTML coder, so I build my own business. Nice, cool. You build websites, cool. Well, do check out the links I posted above. There's the free 7-day training, which walks you through the steps of setting up your business, everything you need to know. And if you want help, I'm doing it live starting next week for 6 weeks. You set up your business, you get all the technicalities in place, you get access to all my e-courses for a year, and you get my help moving forward. You can also set a goal of something to have completed at the end of 6 weeks, such as a certain number of clients or whatever. We work that out in the initial workshop, which is a business planning workshop that we do first to kick off the 6 weeks. Because I don't like helping people form businesses and set up businesses, and then they don't go achieve their goal. So that's why it's set up that way. Okay, guys, that's all. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.